At Dynap, we're seeing a big shift in the BI and data analytics space to be AI first. The use case, pretty simple. I want to be able to talk to my data to run analysis, get insights instantly, coming from CEOs to even analysts, consultants, former consultants like myself. Companies, they're discovering that GenAI can really accelerate decision-making by making data analysis a lot faster and more accessible to business teams. So before, someone had to learn SQL, master the Excel pivot tables, this was my old life at Bain, or become best friends with your data team. Now, once you set up data pipelines and AI tools correctly, you can just talk to your data and do complex analysis, basic metrics, all the way to deep operational insights. So that's what I'm going to show you, some of that AI, BI magic through a demo we built. So this is our interface to our data, powered by a great tool called WrenAI. Made props to them, and they're what's powering this. For this demo, I've connected it to a full e-commerce data set with customers, orders, products, fulfillment data, pretty similar to what we implement for one of our retail clients. So you'll notice that AI has already analyzed our data structure and is suggesting relevant business questions already. These types of questions shows that it's really understanding our business context from the data that we've piped it into. And then down here is where we can type our question, just like asking a person. So let's start with something pretty straightforward and see how that works. Let's do which 3 product categories generated the most revenue last quarter. Okay, and then watch what happens. Just ask a simple business question that I would ask a data team. You notice how it's showing its thinking process. It's identifying the right tables. You can open that back up, organizing its approach. And this transparency is really crucial for folks like us, business users. Then you can actually look at the reasoning. It's determining timeframes, filtering for last quarter, planning the table joins, really like watching a data analyst or a SQL expert work through the problem step by step. And then it's actually writing the actual SQL query and generating the output here to get to our answer. So let me close that. And you can see here, electronics leads to $2.5 million, followed by home and garden at around 900K, and sports and outdoors at roughly 650K. The AI almost instantly analyzed thousands of transactions and ranked them for us. And here you can see something that's really powerful, which is the chart view. The AI automatically chooses what type of chart it should be creating. So a bar chart, because it knows that that's the clearest way to compare revenue across these different categories. You can see the color coding, the proper scaling, almost presentation ready without much formatting. So that's one question. Now let's tackle something that's more of an operational question that directly impacts this business's bottom line. So let's do something like, what are our top fulfillment delay reasons by total cost impact? So this is really critical intelligence, understanding which operational failures are actually costing the company real money. And you can again see AI think through this problem. It's identifying the fulfillment operations table, planning aggregations, and deciding to use ranking functions. 7 steps of analytical reasoning in seconds here. So you can see equipment failure, $620,857. And that's a really powerful insight. Equipment failure alone has cost this company over $620,000. That's not a vague problem statement. That's a very specific, actionable number that justifies immediate investment in maintenance. Let's move over to that chart view again, and you can see what it generates. Visual intelligence really shines here. You can see AI automatically chose another bar chart, perfect for comparing costs across categories. Equipment failure, you can see towers above everything else, followed by weather over here. And any executive, any business professional can, or anyone really can instantly see where to focus resources. And then just for the technical folks out there, you can look at the sophisticated SQL that's being written here. Not a simple just sum. It's intelligently gathering data and organizing it just like an analyst would do and writing the SQL query perfectly. And here's a feature I really like that AI can provide when it has access to your data. It can recommend questions you should be asking. AI is already thinking ahead and saying, you should ask, how have the top fulfillment delay reasons evolved over the past year in terms of cost? And that's a pretty sophisticated question to come up with. So you can press that, you can see the analysis it does just based off that recommended question. You can keep going there. It's prompting you to ask even more in-depth questions, knowing what's important and knowing your data well. So let's talk about what just happened there. So we started with a simple revenue question, something any executive would ask, and in seconds got these great charts and the data in a really presentable way. Didn't have to write any SQL for it. Didn't have to go to a data team for it. But then we went even deeper. The fulfillment analysis that we did, that would take one of my analysts a full day, pulling delay data, aggregating costs, ranking issues, creating the visualization, formatting a deck. We, in that 20 seconds, just identified over $620,000 in equipment failure costs alone, which is potentially our number one operational ball. So what's powerful here is the progression. You start with basic questions to understand your business, then dive into complex cross-functional analysis, each question building on the last, creating that narrative that drives real business decisions. You're really essentially running sophisticated analytics without any technical knowledge, which is really powerful. So you can imagine in your next meeting, someone asks about operational efficiency, and instead of promising to circle back, you can type the question and show them a clear chart of exactly where the money is being lost right there. I actually think the ROI calculation for AI with BI is pretty compelling. It's identifying the specific cost drivers that take 20 seconds instead of a day of an analyst's time, plus the opportunity cost of delayed decisions. You're ultimately saving thousands per year, potentially. But again, the real value is having your finger on the pulse of your business instantly. And that's what happens when AI is built for business leaders. Complex analysis becomes as simple as asking a question, and these actionable insights are just a conversation away. So data analytics BI, it's a great use case for AI that we're seeing at Dynapt. And if you're curious about how some of the companies we're working with are using these BI AI capabilities in production, whether it's a tool like this or one of the many other GenAI platforms, I'd be happy to share what we're seeing. Always excited to connect with others exploring the space. Thanks.